welcome to the Cello Doll YouTube channel. If you've clicked on this video, then Shelly and I say bravo to you because you want to work on your intonation, and it's something you're going to be working on for the rest of your cello journey, forever and ever. I work on this every day, so you know what? It's never too early to start. So this video is going to discuss the octave, how we can check our intonation on the cello without the use of a tuner. A tuner can be an effective tool, but to sit there and tune every single note of a piece with the tuner is very exhausting and tedious, and it's not always the most effective way to practice your intonation. If you're interested in why that is and kind of going more into a deep dive of the physics of it, Shelly and I did make a vlog on the two types of intonation, so check that out if you're interested. Now, you may not always have access to a tuner, but also it is really important to know how the intonation relates to other strings on your instrument, and it's also going to help you to build the roadmap of your fingerboard. Lastly, another great reason you might be watching this vlog is because you might have some reference tapes on your fingerboard and you want to start taking those away, and you're wondering, well, how can I triple check that I'm in the right spot? Disclaimer, I don't have anything against tapes. It kind of depends on teacher to teacher. I started with tapes and I think I turned out all right. So there's nothing against them. If you don't want to use tapes, or you don't have access to a string shop that can add some tapes for you, then this is a great video as well, because we're going to cover how to find your first position without the use of any tapes. So in order for this exercise to be effective, check your open strings ahead of time with a tuner to make sure that they are in tune. So we have our four strings of the cello, C, G, D, and A. There are other locations of those pitches in what we call octaves. So an octave is when we've gone through the musical alphabet and we've returned to the same pitch, and it's one octave higher or lower. One example is our C. We have the open C string. We have our fourth finger C on the G string. And then we have our A string C. So those are three C's across the cello. You could clearly hear there was a really low one, a middle one, a higher one. So that goes to show you we have the same pitch in different ranges across the cello. So how do we test these octaves, and where do we go? Where do we put our fingers? I call this the check 4 exercise with my students. So in our first position, we are going to be towards the top of the neck, and we're going to have all 4 fingers down. And your pinky is going to be in an octave with the next lowest string. A way to test this is to put your finger down about where you think first position is. So I'm just going to pick a random spot and play it. Low string, 4th finger. You can even play them together. It's a cool sound, but it's not an octave. Really listen and think, are you below the pitch or above the pitch of that open string? So I'm currently too low. I'm too far back. So I'm going to scooch it up a little bit, and let's see if that adjustment works. But we're not quite there, so I'm going to keep going higher. Listen to that. Before we were here, and then when we moved it up, we were able to match our open C string. Guess what? If we slide over one, we get open G, 4th finger G. That's an octave. Let me go a little too high on this one so you can hear the difference. And did you see what I just did? I slid while holding those 2 strings together. We call that a double stop. So that is one of the exercises, is to practice adjusting, practice sliding down or sliding up until you hear those two notes match with one another. It is better to be able to adjust and know your mistake than to just land and hope you're perfect. Oh, that was wrong, I'm gonna try again. Oh, that was wrong, I'm gonna try again. But if you learn to correct yourself in the moment, I think that's much more effective. Okay, so we worked on our G's. Last but not least, if we hop over to our A string, we have the open D. So it's D to D. So now let's do the sliding exercise on the A string this time. I'm going to go a little low. So you notice I did some small gradual slides. I'm not going too fast. I really want to catch that moment where the notes align and we get that beautiful octave. So let's quickly talk about a fourth finger that doesn't have a lower neighbor, and that's our F. So what do? We don't have an F string to check, but let's walk down the fingers. Let's see if we go to an open string. 4 is F, 3 is E, 1 is D. You have a D string. So I would use first finger for that open string. You are skipping a string, so don't accidentally play G. You're going to play your lowest string, skip, go to D. And that will be a good marker for your first position on the C string. So that is the check 4 exercise. You can play the two strings separate and listen, or you can play them as a double stop together and slide to adjust. Now guess what, my dolls? I'll let you in on a little secret. That fourth finger is really important because it is your bookmark for future positions on the cello. So that check 4, checking that open string is important for first position. It's important when that 4 becomes a 2 and you're in second position. Okay, so our check 4 became a check 2 now that we're in second position. What about third position? Guess what? It's a first finger. So you can see we're bumping up the fingers. We had first position, second position, now third position, and it becomes a check 1 exercise. So to quickly recap, check 4 with your next lowest string is first position. When that 4 is replaced by 2, it becomes check 2 second position exercise. And then when that 4 becomes a 1, it's check 1 for third position. Now there's one final octave spot I want to show you all, and that is for fourth position. Fourth position already, you know what? Beginners can play in fourth position. First position doesn't mean you're bound there forever because you're a beginner. I believe with your ear and exercises like this, you can play in so many parts of your cello, even though you're a beginner. So, hope that empowers you to come to fourth position with me, because we are going to have a unison match, meaning the same exact pitch. Now this one is very obvious to the ear if it's off. So before with the octave, we had a lower pitch and a higher pitch. But now we're going to be testing the same exact pitch in fourth position. So fourth position, things change a little bit. We're going to be going to the next highest string. So how do we find fourth position? You're going to take your thumb, slide down to the base of the neck where you can't slide anymore. You want your thumb to be nice and loose. You don't want to flex it, squeeze it. It's just there as a little placeholder. And you're going to put your first finger right above that thumb. I am on the pitch A, even though I'm on my D string. So we're going to go to our A string. And that's pretty good. That's actually a pretty good unison match. So I'm going to be a little off so you can hear how obvious it is when it's off. Go even lower. What about too high? Okay, I'll stop. You're probably looking at your screen like, stop it! Ah! It's very obvious when it's not quite right. So this is when you are matching the same exact two pitches. One's on the D string and the other is our open A. So now we're going to go to our next lowest string and test it with our open D. And then our C string. Let's be purposefully off. I promise I won't sit on this dissonance too long like the last time. There's the sweet spot. So we're on our C string and we played a G with our open G string. So now let's talk about the A string fourth position. We have an E. Well, I don't have a higher E string. I'm not a violin. So what do? Remember what we did back for the first finger D? Let's see if we encounter an open string. So I have E, 3 would be F sharp and G. We have a G string, and then you can check your 4 with your open G string. So with this method, you can use your open strings to find positions 1 through 4. Now, I've been playing the cello for a long time, and I've been doing this exercise for a very, very long time. So please be patient and kind to yourself, because this is also a big form of what we call ear training, which is meant to improve your hearing. So if you try this exercise and you think, man, I don't know if it's right, that's okay. You are training your ear to eventually come to a point where you know for certain it's right. It's part of a training process. So another thing I like to tell people is make it clearly off, like very off. If you get stuck and you're like wiggling back and forth a millimeter, just really go too high, too low, and start over. It's okay to live with this exercise for a little bit. All right, my dolls, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope after viewing this, you feel more confident and excited to check your intonation with perfect octaves and unisons. If you have any questions for Chelly and I, leave them in the comments below and we'll get back to them as soon as we can. Now, on YouTube, I think you all know how this works. If you like the channel and you want to subscribe, be thrilled to have you. If you want exclusive content, check out the description for our Patreon and you can support Cello Doll and the future projects that are yet to come. We'll see you dolls in the next video, and until then, as always, happy practicing. Bye-bye!